Hello guys, my name is Piros and today we're going to see how to use entity frameworks discriminators in order to have what we call the table per hierarchy in our database. In other words, we will have multiple entities that they will inherit from the same base class, but they will all be stored in the same database table and they will have a clear distinction between them. Now let's go to our project. It's a console project. I have an entities folder. And in here I have a person. That person has a GUID as an ID, a first name and last name, they're all required. And in my application I don't have a person per se, but I have two entities that I want to use. I have a hero which inherits from the person because a hero also has an ID, a first name and a last name, but they also have a nickname and a nullable job title. Because why not? And the civilian, it also inherits from the person and it has an address that our hero don't, because we can't know where a hero lives. And it also have a nullable job title, but for some reason I don't want that job title to be part of the person. Maybe I want to have at some point another entity that inherits from the person that it doesn't have a job title. Also in my persistence folder I have an app DbContext. I have enabled sensitive data logging so we can see to the console some of the SQL that will be executed in the continuation of the video. And in my configuration I have a civilian configuration, a hero configuration and a person configuration, and the configure methods are all empty. So let's go and implement them. Let's start from the person configuration since it's our base entity. First of all, let's define the key, so builder.hasKey, and that will be the ID. And now for the discriminator, all we have to do is to say builder.hasDiscriminator. Let's say that it will be a string 1. Let's give it a name, so let's say person type. We will explain all that in a second. And now let's say has value, and for our hero the value would be hero, and for our civilian the value will be civilian. Now what this is going to do is going to create in our base class a shadow property. With the name person type, it will be a string, but it will only exist in our database table, and it will be used as a discriminator between entities. So if that person type has the hero value, entity framework will know that this is of a hero type, and if it has civilian, it will know that is a civilian type. Now for our hero and person configuration, let's go to our hero configuration. And we don't actually need to configure anything here, since the properties are very simple. But as you can see, I have a job title in both of them, and I said that I want to treat them different. So entity framework, since they have the same name in the hero and the civilian, they are both nullable strings with a name job title. And if we don't configure them differently, for example, one of them has different length from the other, or the one is nvarchar max and the other is not, etc., it will create the same row in our table. If they have different, let's say again, length as nvarchars, it will map them to two rows and it will change the name for us. But let's say that I want them to be nullable strings with the exact same configuration in the database, and I only want the name to be different. So for that reason I'll go to the hero configuration and I'll say builder.property, and I'll say which property I want, which is the job title, and that's a hero, no, a hero configuration, excuse me. So that is hero again, and let's import the namespace, and the job title has column name, which will define the column name of our database, and let's say hero job title, and let's copy that and do the same for our civilian, but instead of hero job title, that will be a civilian job title. And now let's do one more thing. Let's go to our person configuration and let's be explicit that we want this table to be called people. So builder.toTable, and let's say people, and that was it. Now let's add our migration. I use a plugin called Entity Framework or UI, which is very helpful. I will just click in my project, I'll go to Tools, Entity Framework Org, Add Migration. It has a lot of options, for example, the Migrations folder, the DbContext class in case I have multiple DbContext, and I also need to select the migration project and the startup project and set the migration's name. All the defaults are fine, so I'll hit OK, and as you can see, our migrations folder with our migration has been created. So let's now update our database. I'll use the same tool. I'll select update database, I'll select the target migration, I'll hit OK, and now our database should be ready. Finally, let's go to our app DbContext and let me copy and paste the DB sets. Okay, so we will also have a DB set of person type. Just show you how you can work with that. So let's now close all those tabs. Let's go back to our program. Let's create our DbContext. So using var context equals with new app DbContext. And again, let me copy and paste some code for creating one hero and one civilian. Let's import their namespaces, and the hero is called Bruce Wayne, his nickname is Batman, and his job title is CEO of Wayne Enterprises. And the civilian is Spyros Katsios, who lives in Athens, Greece, and his job title is software engineer. And now to our context, we will use the people and the add range method, and we will pass a new list of person. And that list will contain our hero and our civilian. So instead of adding our hero to our hero DB set and the civilian DB set, we can use directly with people. Let's remove these parentheses. Okay, let's debug our application. And it's finished. And now let's try to take these entities back. So let's say that our heroes are equal with context.heroes.toList, and the same for our civilians. So context dot, and that's not civilian, it's civilians, but let's ignore that. And finally, I want to take all the people, so people equal with context.people.toList, and then I want to have my heroes taken from the people's list. Let's see how we can do that. Let's say heroes equal with people.ofType, and let's specify the type, and that will be hero, and then again toList, and why not, let's do the same for the civilians. Okay, and now let's have a console.read key, so our application don't exit. Let's also put a breakpoint in here. Let's debug our application. Now let's step over. So if we go to our heroes, as you can see, we have one hero, our Bruce Wayne. For our civilians, we have me. So it all worked as expected. And if we go to our console, as you can see, it selected for the hero the first name, the last name, the person type, the hero job title, and the nickname, and not the other properties that are not specific to the hero, and the same for the person. It took the first name, the last name, the person type, the address, and the civilian job title. And as you can see, it added the where clause that the person type for the first query should be hero and for the second civilian. Let's go back to our debugger. Let's step over our people have count of 2 and it's 1 civilian and 1 hero. And our heroes, now that we set them from the people, are the same, and the same goes for the civilians too. So everything worked as expected, and that's all I had for today. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a nice one.